Okay, hello everybody. This is my new chess channel. I am here. My username is turn-based RTS. I am pretty bad at chess. If we go uh, to myself, game history, to my stats and stuff. Do I see my stats? I am. I only play 5-minute games. 5 minutes with 5-second time controls. So that's blitzed games. And right now I'm 671. My best rating was 778. I play like 2 games a day. Sometimes I don't play at all, but probably like 2 games a day or so. 5-minute games is what I got time for, and what I want to play. So I'm pretty bad, pretty new. I started chess in 2023, so not super experienced. This is something I've kind of taken interest in a little bit later on in my life. But I wanted to talk about this opening, which I've been using. And, is it the most successful? For me, it's somewhat successful. But when you're this low rating, as I am, the more important thing is to not blunder pieces and uh, convert endgames. Ends up being a lot more important. So oftentimes it just comes down to a blunder. Who makes the blunder first at this level? Um, Sometimes it's like blundering a full piece. Sometimes it's like, something else a little bit more nuanced. But basically, that's why these games get decided. Until I clean up blunders, I won't ever really advance in rating. But I still believe in this opening, and it's something that I quite enjoy playing, and I think that others might enjoy playing too. Mostly, this is just for me to have a reference point about how to play this opening, so I don't forget myself. And let's get into it. We're gonna call it uh, the Mastriani pawn heist. The Mastriani pawn heist. So this is an opening for white, and the way it goes, start with this very, very passive move, e3. Now, you know, why e3? Well, because if you play e4, as you guys all know, black has a bunch of different responses that take the game in vastly different directions, and if you play e4, you have to know how to handle all of them, because black will know how to respond to this. Every player knows has an answer for e4, has a system they like. Some people like the Sicilian systems. Then you have to know a lot of Sicilian theory. Some people like e5 systems. Lots of theory here, and I don't know any of it because I don't care about it. It's to learn all this is crazy. This is a move. Even this is a move, the Scandinavian. So there's so many options that black has here that you have to learn as white if you want to play the most principled move, e4. So that's why, if you just want to get a chess game, basically, oftentimes this move just gives you a chess game, right? Black might play something like this, or, if they play this, our move is this, but then they might just go like this or something, and we have a chess game, right? This is just a chess game at this point. So, like, it's totally even, dead even chess game. You just get to play a game of chess, right? So, in fact, this is actually odd. Why does this work for black? I just want to look at this quickly. Oh, black goes first. So black takes or plays this, also possible, but probably just trades, and you have a game, right? It's not hard. Maybe black plays a5. This is just a chess game. There's no theory here. Maybe this transposes into some line they know, but as far as I'm concerned, this is just a chess game. Um, but oftentimes, and in fact, what the computer recommends is the best move in this position is for black to play d5 and take full control of the center. Now, from a principle standpoint, this should make sense. You're always taught as a young chess player to take control of the center with your pawns, that both pawns are defended, so there's no obvious reason why this is a bad move, and in fact, the computer agrees this is the best move for black. But it's very tricky, and to prove that this is best is quite challenging, because we have this move here, queen h5. And the point, of course, is just to win this pawn. This pawn is undefended. We're attacking this pawn and this pawn at the same time, and you don't have any pieces out. And there's no easy way for black to defend with the pawn. Obviously, this is illegal. And a bunch of moves can be played here, but oftentimes players get a little stuck here and they don't know what this is because obviously it's never been played against them before because it's not a real move, according to any theory. So not often are you on move, what is this, 3 for black, and black is already winning. But for black to actually prove that they're better is quite difficult. So let's go through some of the main lines here. This is what I'll consider the Mastriani pawn heist position, the starting position for this theory. When we reach this position, we can enter these lines. So what I see at my level most, and is probably the most logical response, I would say, for a human to make, is the following move: knight to c6. And the reason is obvious. The knight wants to protect this pawn, right? Develop a piece while protecting your pawn. Seems very logical, reasonable, practical chess theory, or chess ideas. That's what you do. Our response is always to play this move, bishop to b5. And the idea is simple. We're just going to pin this knight and allow us to reassert pressure to this pawn. Now, black has a variety of options here. And oftentimes what black chooses to do, at my level, I'm not sure if they really choose to or if they end up in this position, but they often choose to sack the pawn for development in some form or another. So there are plenty of different ways that could happen. We're going to first analyze the following way. Let's look at this move. So in this move, black it's considered a mistake, but you'll see it often because, okay, well, this is a pinned, let's unpin it. But of course, that allows us to take, and then once this is taken, we are allowed to take the pawn. But the work is not done. Just because we've won this pawn does not mean the game is over. There's a lot of work to go. So there's plenty of moves there's a couple moves that black can make. Black can either defend the check with the knight or the bishop. And because if we defend with the bishop, that loses this pawn, most people will defend with the knight here this way. Okay, so this is an interesting position, and what I recommend in this position is the following move. I recommend this move. Now, if you look at the eval bar, I guess we could start with a developing move. I guess you can start here. I guess you can start here. Yeah, I guess start here is fine. But I guess because this is still not allowed. But okay, so as we start here, we can, to me it's not clear why this is better than this right away. I think you can get away with playing this in most games first, but in this position we have a tempo to play our knight here. And then now there's a couple options black has in this position. Really not many, I guess. I guess if you wanted to attack this queen, yeah, so in this position, black has a couple options. There's really two main options. Black can play like this and play for long castles. Black can block the check this way, or deflect the queen this way. And those, I think, are the two main human moves, the things that are the most difficult in the position to deal with. Most humans are going to play either this or this, right? So let's say black plays this. This is probably like, okay, very caveman brain. Let's just deflect the queen. Okay, fine. We go, give this check. This pawn comes forward. Then this is a little bit, we go this here first. We go here first. This is critical. That's never getting played. This could be played. Hold up. Let's go back, try this again. Let's try. I think I am just going to recommend this move because it's just the most thematic. I'm just going to recommend this move because I understand this position a lot better. I'm not saying it's the best, but I understand it the most. Okay. And I think it still holds the advantage, and I think it's clearer what's going on. So not objectively not the best move here, but I think practically the best response. Less memorization, more concepts going on. The point is with this move is we're going to halt this pawn. Okay? If this pawn can't go forward when the bishop is here, then what we allow ourselves to do is give our queen a safe square if it starts getting chased. So in this line where it starts getting chased everywhere, right, we can go all the way to here first, right? So this is, and also, by the way, we're applying pressure to this pawn. And already it's tough for black to figure out what to do. They can probably defend the pawn this way, but then we just get developed. And, you know, maybe this comes here, maybe the piece comes this way. You know, it's a chess game. At this point, it's already very difficult for black to prove that they have compensation for the pawn. There's no clear plan at this point already. I mean, you just develop, I guess. But we just develop back. You know, we can still just develop. We can start by trying to kick the bishop and making it choose. Winning the bishop pair. You know, maybe this comes to mind to castle long. I guess that makes sense, to castle long. But it's not clear, I guess, why. First of all, what's this threat? Is there a threat here to take or something? Not sure what that point is then, but why can't I just castle here, by the way? Just checking. Can. Again, it's a chess game. It's a chess game where you're up a pawn and your opponent with black has to prove why they're better. And that's the goal of the line, is to always get to a point where it's a chess game where you're up a pawn and black's goal is to prove they're better. Prove you're better for it. With black, people don't like playing gambit lines, and most of the time because, like, you're behind a tempo. You don't want to play gambit behind a tempo. So difficult for black to play. So I would recommend this move. I think this is considered an inaccuracy. This is like whatever that was, that pawn jump. Is this really getting played? I mean, seriously, is this getting played in this position? Who's playing this move in this position? Like, tell me who. And also, that's not even, it's not like it's worse here. I think, and who's playing that move in this position? Are you serious? This is not getting played unless someone knows this line, right? I think far more likely to see is this or this. This I'll cover because this is a real move. I think a human would play this move. And our response, my response in this line is going to be, in my recommendation here, it is, so this, lots of options. Trying to remember the intention of this move. I believe there was an intention there. I think it's to block this idea, which is for some reason scary. Can't remember why. But I'll just recommend developing this. I think we're probably okay here. Of course, if they play this move, they're probably going to castle. And then once it gets out, I think we do have to play this move. I think there's some idea with this H pawn pushing that we have to defend against by playing over here at some point. Also, I guess it makes sense. We're attacking this pawn. White has to deal with that in some way. They could start with this. This is a move you would see. Now at this point, because we can castle long at our leisure, a move like this might be played more often. But I would just develop. But I mean, again, it's tough to prove why you're better as black here. It's difficult to prove. I mean, comes to mind, we just drop back at our leisure, and we kind of get to this a very similar position we saw before, right? We saw this type of position before. And I think it all comes from the fact that we're throwing in this move here. This is the key move, I think. So if you don't remember anything else, of course, in this position, the key move, just play this. It's much simpler. It's not the objectively best move, but it's the simplest move. And against most logical responses, we're going to be okay. And we want to get our queen onto this square because it's a safe square for the queen. With all these positions and lines, the main idea is to take your pawn and get your queen out to safety. And so here, so we've kind of considered this line now. There are of course other variations of this, but we've looked. We've looked at this line. We've looked at this line, right? Let's go back. This is not the only way. In fact, it's not the best way. There is a best way, but it's also not kind of what we're doing here, what people will be playing. So the next thing I think you might see, which seems a little bit logical, is to say, okay, well, especially at my level, you might see this. Okay, well, I'll just defend the pawn with the bishop. And that's well and dandy, but then you blunder this pawn, okay? And already white actually has an advantage. And so in this position, of course, there's still a lot of work to do. We still have a bit of a vulnerable queen. It looks dangerous for black, but it's not actually that dangerous. And probably a couple logical moves that could come to mind. Let's start with the knight moves here. The knight jumps here. This is pretty obvious. We just trade pieces. We're much better. We can go here, try to get the queen trade. Okay. This shouldn't really be considered as a real threat. This is pretty tame. If the knight comes to here, we can still trade. The knight comes to here, then it's a little bit trickier. And if this is a bit of maybe a line we should analyze here, because this, I mean, is this going to get played? Probably not, but it might get played. I mean, we should consider it briefly. I don't think you'll see this often, but it is a good move, and it might get played. And so the computer looks like it wants us to first develop or drop our queen back. I like this because it's simple. We drop our queen back, and I think the next move is clearly this. And then we can, well, it's not clearly that, but it's a move that comes to mind as something that may be played. To me, this is logical. Then this, then this. This is a very aggressive move. But we have this move to save us. And yeah, we're totally fine here. Totally fine. We can play this soon. We can play this at some point. We're fine. Yeah, this is okay. Again, it's very thematic in terms of the spirit of the line. We have plenty of moves which maintain the advantage. I think castling is logical here. Making sure there's nothing that has to be played. Nope, nothing has to be played. We could move over here to give our knight a square, right? That makes some sense. We're not rushing anything. You know, this doesn't work. Yeah. There's just nothing for black doesn't have a move. Like, I guess this is a move. Yeah, it's a move, but then that kind of helps us play the move we wanted to play anyway, which is this. So, yeah, I think I like that recommendation. So I recommend, in this position, sorry. In this position, I recommend just dropping your queen back to this square specifically. And then either castles or this. And I think probably both cases, we start with this move and then drop this back here. This is technically a little bit better because we can place our bishop on this square and attack this weak pawn. So castles is slightly better here. Probably. Oh, that's actually not even really the idea. This idea, and then again, this, right? So this is just, I mean, what human's playing that? Again, it's not obvious why black is better here. I mean, it's like, come prove it. I mean, they're not better, obviously, but what's your compensation, right? They've got a little bit more active pieces, but we have the pawn, and you have to prove it, right? So you get to a position like this from the opening theory, and black has to prove that they're better. So, okay, cool. We've considered. What move did we just consider? We just considered blocking this way. right? This move, right? Also considered a blunder. Let's consider this move, which is actually a real move. And you might face it with someone just kind of not thinking it through all the way in the opening. But our next move is, you can of course either take first or take the pawn first. We'll take the pawn first here. And then white has a couple options. Oh, the check. A couple options to block here. E7 or E6. And it looks like E7 is the best. But we'll consider why is E6 a little bit worse. So, what am I remembering from this? I mean, obviously this looks fine. Ah, yes. Hold up. Now, we'll start with this simplest, right? Okay, we have time to make a developing move here. What scares me is this idea, though. Ah. Ah. Very clever. Very clever. Okay. So if you develop your knight here, you preserve that right. I like that a lot, actually. I like that a lot. Okay, so in this position, why? So you take the trade that piece. This is blocked. We get to go. And the point is, we're going to develop our knight here. Why? Because we want to reserve the right to push this pawn. So, I mean, okay, so this is possible. So this is not the only way to approach this. They could just approach this way. In fact, that's more logical. In which case, we drop this way. That allows the queen trade. Ah, into the queen trade. Okay. Yeah, that's clever. Okay. Castles. Is this move possible? Yeah, I like that move. I like this move in this position. We want to prevent this knight from jumping. This knight jumping can be dangerous. Yeah. I like that move. Okay. I think this is the most likely thing you'll face is this. And then create the threat of the trade. A castle. And then prevent that knight from jumping. Okay, most logical. Black again. Very thematic. Black just develops. Calm move. We castle, we play this. Okay, either one works. And the point is, right now, as it stands, threat of the trade is a bit annoying. We just castle. Drop back. This square. This looks scary though, right? Yeah. I like that quite a bit. That. Yeah. Okay. Like that quite a bit. Okay, so that's, again, this is a little bit scarier line in terms of the queen is getting hunted a bit. But remember, this is always a great option. If this, just go here, this, we have a 4. This one will come up more often. And actually, whenever this is taken, there's actually a theme here. So whenever, let's go back, in any position, whenever we trade here and the pawn lands on this, we never want to push d4. As long as you know that, you'll be probably fine to get your queen out because, basically, also, is this possible in this position? It is, but like, not very good. Even here, it's not clear that black is better. Obviously they are better, but it's not clear why. Kind of wasted a tempo, I guess, doing this. And black has made some pawn advancements in that time. Yeah, we don't want to give up this pawn so easy. Yeah, anyway, this is a game, but tough for black to prove that they're better here. You could play that, I guess, but I would just develop first. You actually have time to develop here, believe it or not. And this is a nice square to develop too. When this gets played, remember we can have the pin. And then when castles, we can play d3, we can play b3. And we actually have kind of some flexibility. We can block this pawn from advancing, block the knight from landing here. We don't want the knight to land here. That makes some sense. Of course, we can trade it, but we can also fully control the square and give our bishop a place to be if we want to put it there. You know, rook could be moved, I think, more logically, just to kick the queen. And remember, if this is ever played, you can go for this. I wouldn't. Oftentimes it leads to, if black knows what they're doing, it'll lead to the queen actually getting traded, and it's like you have to play a queen down, but you're technically better. Just go to a4. And now this is interesting too. That's actually that's like only move. No. And then if this gets played, remember this pawn is weak, so you have to defend it somehow. Is that what was played? Whoa. Best move is this. This is a tricky line, huh? Okay, it's not as it's not as bad as I thought. Did I mess this up somehow? Like, how come this line? No, it's. Did I mess this up, or is it actually just this even? I mean, that requires black to castle here, or they could do that, but I think castling is normal. This. I mean, I don't think this is getting played. But I don't think this is necessarily getting played, actually. But yeah, the point is we always have a4. Okay, enough of that. It's a game. It's tough for black to prove that they're better. You know, with best play, they probably can equalize. But the point being that this is actually a move. And if blocked with the white bishop, then we actually have a tempo. We want it to develop. Then this comes, start by just trading this off, keep it simple. And then remember, this pin is very useful because if the knight ever jumps, we get to trade the queens with the check. And usually we'll come out on top there. If black ever offers you a queen trade, you take it without question. Every single time you trade queens in this line, because you're just up a pawn. And a lot of the complication goes, a lot of the black's counterplay revolves around hunting your queen down. So absolutely take that. If castles, we have a move, solidify the center. If they start chasing this way, get onto the 4th rank, and you'll have an escape route through the 4th rank. That's the key. This is not a good move because we can just take. And what is black doing? I guess this can be played. Then we even have, now this works. This actually works. So, yeah, that doesn't work. So, keep the 4th rank open. Keep the 4th rank open. Yeah, crucial there. Okay. That's a fun line. Let's look at this is also, again, you'll see this quite a bit. Our response is clear. The second most, of course, if the queen goes, you just trade queens. I mean, in every universe, this is better. But if the bishop, the black bishop or the dark bishop, goes here, then we have a whole nother line to consider. And I think we can start with the most logical response, which is this. And again, thematically, we don't know exactly how this is going to go, but we're pretty sure that whatever happens, we're going to keep our fourth rank open so that our queen can escape to a4 in this position in every single time. So, okay, we look at this position. What can black play? Well, they could castle. That seems logical. They could play this. Let's start with castles. I think that's... Oh, sorry, it's our move. It's our move. I believe I like this move in this position. I think that is a move. Yeah, this is a move. And the point is, at some point after black castles, they're going to be able to play this and this. And if you don't have h3 thrown in, they're going to win this pawn with a devastating attack down here with the knight and the bishop, chasing your queen away, and they're going to work in tandem and kind of clear out your king side. So a move like this can be nice to throw in. Okay, black castles. Develop, queen. I mean, develop. Weird that it's not adjusting that, but okay. Okay, so then you face the move that you expect to face, which is this move. Okay. And again, we threaten the queen trade with this. So we pin the knight to the queen trade. And again, difficult for black to prove that they're better here. And this move makes some sense. I would say even this makes some sense. Might get played. A move like this gets played. It's apparently losing. Why is this losing? Is there an obvious reason? No. There's just no advantage. I mean, look, already, like a move like this, super natural move. Extremely natural move, losing. I would say, actually, though, I would say this is better. I would say this is more natural. But even still, this is still losing. So, I mean, again, like black just plays normal moves sometimes, and they're not able to convert the advantage. They have to play very accurately here, get their rooks moved here in order to keep the advantage. I think this is logical too, though. And then again, very thematic. If this pawn move ever comes, we always have a4. Always have a4. So, sure, castles. You could face that. I mean, sure, I guess. Protect against this. Still have a4. Now we don't, I guess, but what about this position? Well, now I guess this works. This is hanging. Oh, this is very tricky. If you do this, then... Oh, obviously, yeah. Duh. Very tricky position. Yeah, fun game, though. This looks fun. Okay. That looks fun. Okay, so yeah. So what's the main point here? Lots of stuff that could happen here. I would say that makes the most sense. But I just like this move here. Because if you don't play it, you can imagine a situation where... Let's just say you play this. Black has this nasty move here. And I think our only two options are here and here. But then black has this nasty move here. Oh, I guess we have this move in this position. Yeah, that's fair. I guess if you mess up and play this move here. No, that doesn't really solve it either. Okay, but that's fine, I guess. I guess this is fine to just develop. Sorry. To just... I think actually this is probably fine. Oh, this is when the white bishop blocks. Yeah, that we already analyzed that. Sorry. Yes, let's look. We were looking at this, this, this move, then this move, and then this move. And then, okay, so if you say go here, right? And then let's say this move comes, right? We can drop back here. It can get very dicey, right? Go here, it's very dicey, right? Like you have to be very accurate with your queen move, and then this comes very nasty. And then this, by the way, is hanging, right? This is a line, but it's hanging. I mean, this pawn is just hanging, so they get their pawn back. I guess this pawn goes with check, so I mean, they have to play this first, I guess. But I guess okay. I mean, technically, but again, it's tricky to deal with. So I would just recommend to throw this in. I'd recommend throwing this in. Yeah. It gets very tactical, or not tactical, it just gets very tricky if you don't. Yeah, okay, so just remember in this position, this is a move. I would play this one so that you reserve the right to push this pawn if you need to. But even just this, it's fine. Block that knight. Okay, this is fine too. It can be tactical though. You're not going to hate yourself if you play either of them, but both are basically the same. I would recommend this. It's a little bit simpler. A little bit simpler. Black, of course, in both lines can equalize, but this is, in my opinion, a bit simpler. Block that knight from causing havoc. A little bit this is definitely the theory kind of a move. So, yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so yeah, this is an interesting line. There's probably a bunch of things that can be played here, but I don't want to get into that too much. I want to get on to other moves. So we've kind of seen a lot of the responses that you might see to this. There is this response, which we should cover too. The best response, not the best response, but one of the better responses. And actually, in this particular configuration, we can play this move. And black has an only move. Now, if they don't find it, right, if they play anything else, we play this, and we're just winning because we won the pawn and we got the queen trade, which is our ideal situation. So the only move black has, anything else, you're going to take this pawn with check and trade queens, right? The only thing that can happen. The only move black has is this, to keep this interesting. And in fact, in response, we have this anyway. And then I think what we do is we just take this, and this is winning for us, looks like. First of all, we're threatening to take twice here. So this is logical, right? But then, oh, apparently this works. Because why? If this, then this. We win the knight, the rook in the corner. Okay. So that's a fun line, actually. Yeah. Very interesting. Look at this tactic here. You think black's spotting this? I don't think so. This is tricky. Maybe they will, but this is brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant. I agree. For me, at least, it's brilliant. Because you're going to take this pawn, and then... actually important to take with the knight here. Take with the knight. Has to be done because we're going to fork the rook and the king. So, very cool. Very cool, that move. Okay. No, that's basically it. I mean, so if that's not played, then what else could be played? There's nothing else to be played. So, black can't trade here. Okay, so black decides not to trade here, which, I mean, from an objective standpoint, like, you probably would just trade here, right? I guess you could see that this looks scary. I might see, like, okay, if he trades, he's landing here, and that looks scary. Like, I would see that, actually. Maybe you would see that. So maybe you would play this move. Okay, fine. We trade queens anyway. And, black is better, I guess. This comes to mind. We're going to get the bishop pair at least. But, yeah, basically, we trade here. Okay, black gets away, I think, here. Black gets away. I'd say black. I'd prefer black here. But again, tricky to play. And it's not like it's crazy. It's not like it's way better, right? It's just a little bit better. Block this weak pawn. Protect the weak pawn, at least. Yeah, game goes on. Not too interesting, but there's a couple tricks here. Black has to know some theory here to get away. And it's tricky. And the thing is as well is that if you know this line, black is going to have to spend some time here to figure out what to play. So I think very tempting to just take this queen. Very tempting. But also tempting to block the check this way. This is a move too I should consider. Probably kind of the same idea, in fact. Actually, probably just takes this way. And again, we just develop here. This is not allowed. We're applying pressure here. Yeah, you just reinforce this piece. I think black is fine here. Yeah, okay, black is fine. You can chip away at the center, So this is black's best response, but it requires them to, there's an only move in this position, only move, and very tempting response. Very tempting response in this position is to just trade queens, and that's wrong. Very wrong. And often leads to losing the exchange. So, and if it doesn't work, you get an equal position. So it's not the worst thing in the world. So this is a real response. You will face this too, because people will cling to the pawn, and rightly so, actually. I think this is how I would play this position as well with black. I prefer, actually this looks nice. After you know all this theory, once you play like this looks nice for black. This looks nice. I'd prefer black here. So yeah, e7. E7. Yeah, I prefer black here. This looks nice for black. It's a bit more natural development. You have more control of the center. But it's still objectively equal. But I would prefer black. If I was playing against this opening, I would choose this opening, I think. I'd choose this line. So this is what I would recommend for black, this setup here. This looks nice. But again, they have to know all the theory to get here. So, tough to play against. Okay, so we've analyzed a lot of this. I think we've analyzed the main responses, the main real responses, I think, right? We looked at this line. We looked at this line. We looked at this line. Did we look at this line? Yeah, we looked at that line a little bit. Okay. I don't think there's much more than that line. I'm pretty sure that's the only... I mean, obviously this is wrong because you just take... In fact, I think you take this way, right? Yeah, you take this way. I think that's basically... I mean, you might face this, but that's pretty clear why it's not working. It just truly is up a pawn. So that's a lot of these lines, and you'll face this move more than you won't. This is the most common response at my level to this opening. This is like the most common human move. It is not the only move, however. And there are a couple of, I mean, you could play literally so many moves here. You can see even more. There's probably even more moves here. But we'll look at this move here. This is objectively the best move. And we should analyze it for that reason. Of course, we go into the line by taking here. And black has two options to block the check, two real options to block the check. And actually, there's still, at this point, 50-50. It looks like if you were black and you saw this position, you would think, okay, I block the check and develop. And you wouldn't think like, oh, one is objectively way better than the other. Like it's very tough to realize that e6 here is just way worse than e7. Uh, to me at least, it's not obvious why this is way better from the jump. But let's see why this one is way worse. So I mean, this is the best response, but then there's an only move. There's an only move here, and of course there's only two moves, but it's not clear why one is better than the other one. To me at least, it's not clear. So let's consider this move. And the key in this opening, where the knight comes out here, is that we're going to get our knight to this square. We're going to get our knight to this square. Why do we get our knight to this square? Well, first of all, we're attacking this pawn right here. And then if black tries to defend it with this, okay, well, thank you. I just take the dark square bishop, and I'm winning. And it's very tough to attack the queen now because I have control of the dark squares. I can go anywhere I want to with this, right? I can just stay here. Sure, whatever. But we just drop back here. It's fine. Our queen is totally safe, and the knight is attacked. It's not fun. So, like, yeah, it's pretty clear that this. I guess black still develops. Attack, you just develop, and because there's no dark square bishop, it's very difficult for black to attack the queen with the minor pieces, like and truly trap it without the dark square bishop or without the light square bishop. It's very tough to do that. So, because there's just so much board to play with. Yeah, this move comes to mind, but again, we have a4. Always have a4. When the bishop is not on here, you always have a4. So, no. Actually, an only move, by the way. Okay, interesting. Yeah, only move. Only move a4. That's good to know. Yeah, I would say a4 is a pretty good bet for your queen. If you have a4, I would just go to a4 in a lot of these positions. Good bet. Yeah, this comes to mind, but just develop and yeah, this. But that doesn't work. It's not that scary. We just go here. Game goes on. That's actually a little bit tricky. It does require an only move, so that's a little bit scary. But, yeah. This is a move that a human will play. A4. A4 is very safe. This is kind of why I want to make this course for myself, because I know that, some of these have to be only moves. Okay. That's that. I don't think this really needs much more than this. I mean, we're +1, and just know that a4 is the square when this comes. Lots can be played here, but basically, as long as you have this square, this move is never dangerous. So, if black just castles here, then a move like this, probably even this is fine. Yeah, it's fine. It's a game, and again, black very thematic position for this opening. Black has to prove they're better. Black has to prove that they're better for the pawn. Difficult to do. Okay. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with that. The point being that this move, key move in these positions where the knight comes out first, key move is this. And it really blunts this attack. There's a couple other things that black could do to defend. Of course, they could defend this way, which is a bit more principled. But then we just develop. And again, this is never dangerous because we just trade the piece. This can come. Okay, fine. Drop back. And now, instead of taking the dark square bishop, we're going to take our light square bishop. So, again, if we can trade for a bishop with our knight, I mean, we're just so much better off. We're so much better off if we can do that. So, just something to keep in mind. Like you can tell why, you can see clearly why this looks good. I mean, this can come, I guess. But the thing is, actually also important detail here. If black plays this in this position, this actually works. Because at the end of the line, we just win this bishop back. Throw up a pawn and a bishop. So that's pretty nice. So that doesn't work. Um, so yeah, I mean, this is just tough for black to play. I mean, sure. I don't think it's, if I need to later, I'll analyze more here, but I think this is, I'm happy with this. Like, yeah, this looks pretty nice. I mean, I don't want to get too bogged down in these details. I'm not sure I'll ever even face these lines. So let's look now at, instead of this, another very common response. And the best response is this. Okay. I believe we still play this, or no. We can still play this. Of course, we still have a threat here. Now, black of course has an only move. They obviously can't go here. Here's a mistake because it leads to a fork. So there was truly an only move, and I think most people will find this only move. Couple ideas it wants us to go for. It wants us to get this out of the way ahead of time. It wants us to create this developing move either for the queen to escape or for the bishop to get into the game. And I think even here this is allowed. It's tricky. Why is this really bad if black castles? Snap. Oh. I mean, okay, intermediate move. Has to be played. Huh? Another intermediate move required. Okay. Ah. No. Then this. That is crazy. I think this is viable because no one's finding this order of the intermediate moves, right? I mean, why does it have to be... How many intermediate moves are played before this is recaptured? Right? Captured is lost. Then this required. Okay, then this. Then this required. Okay, then this. Not this, but now you take... This is not too bad, but it's a little bit awkward. And now another only move. C5. I mean, I guess it's all findable, but... That's fun. Yeah, I mean, you can see why it's getting tricky. But then I have an only move, too. Oh, very cool. Cool position. But yeah, I don't hate this idea. I think you can get away with this. But let's look at the other moves that are recommended here. Obviously, instead of this, it recommends to just drop this back first. I don't hate that idea. But again, this is why I don't like it, because it leads to this line here. This line, if black finds this line, this gets really scary. This is the line I think I was actually thinking of in the other position. This. Then we have this square, that's fine, but then... Sorry, hold on. This is... Oh, hold up, why is it better? Start with castle. I mean, you have to take that. You lose the exchange here. Yeah, you mean, it basically leads to you losing the exchange with best play, which is why I hate this. And I don't... That's why I kind of like this move here. Is that there is this annoying idea that requires, first of all, to find the exact square for your queen. very accurate. This requires a very accurate find for this square in this position. This, then this. And I should analyze why this doesn't work. Because this, then this, then this. And I guess we have compensation. I mean, we're rolling down the H file. I mean, it's, yeah. I mean, this doesn't look too bad for white. I mean, we are going to go here maybe. I mean, that looks annoying to deal with. But we have another only move to find. Of course, it's a check, so it probably occurs to us. Trade. And we defend the square. Fine. Not clear why it's better. I mean, we lose the exchange, so I don't necessarily see why that's better. I think that maybe there's some tactical compensation. I would avoid this though, which is why I think I'm going to recommend this. I mean, I think that, you know, clearly there's some compensation here, but it's difficult to find. I recommend this, even though it's objectively a little bit dubious. Of course, black has an only move to keep the advantage, slight advantage, which is to castle here. It's a findable move, of course. Then with something like this, so white to go, we have plenty of options. Again, just to block this. Trade the dark square bishop. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this looks fine. I mean, what's the best response to this? I mean, in this position, black has to play, I mean, I think this makes sense. Common idea and motif is this here. You know, black has h6, that's right. Black has this idea. This idea doesn't work. Looks nice for white. I mean, there's only move, right? I mean, no, it's not an only move. I like this. It doesn't lead to an exchange loss, but I'm a little bit worried about the queen getting trapped here. Like in this line, a little bit worried here. Yeah, you have to give yourself an escape square. I just wondered about, like, what I play to trap the queen here. You can't play this, I guess. This blocks the rook from coming in and trapping the queen. It's important. Guess that's why you play it. I mean, I guess it technically works. It's a little bit scary. I don't like having the knight in that location if I can avoid it. Sorry. Can you play this move? Not really. No, the knight has to come back. Can we come back here, though? No, because the knight jumps. Yeah, it has to come back to defend against this knight jumping here. But what about... Okay, so now what if we play this? This is why this is a move. Because we allow ourselves this square with the knight. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it's bad. Of course, we trade. But a move like this could be played. Now this allows us to trade again. Yeah, a lot of places for black to go wrong. I like this move here. It prevents the craziness. And then this. I think you could face this right away. But then, and this apparently is better somehow. Because after this, we can trade. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But it doesn't have to be played though. I mean, what about this move? Yeah. Again, we get down this dubious hole. Yeah, we kind of reached this position. And it's pretty important to take this because this pawn is really weak to this knight. So that's another key idea, is that this trade is often worth it. For one, we're doubling pawns, but also this pawn is quite weak. Back here, we don't want to run into this move here. Okay, that makes sense. We're able to get back with that piece. Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's not clear why black is better here to me. Yeah, a lot of natural moves end up... Again, so many places for black to make a natural move and lose the advantage. So many places. That's the key thing, is like, yes, black with best play can keep it equal or a slight advantage sometimes, but they have to play accurate moves, and oftentimes very natural moves end up throwing away the advantage or the equality. So again, for this line, obviously we do this, and we've looked at this line, and this line here, we get to play, of course, always this move, always. Force them to find this, and then I recommend h3 here, h3. Black has a lot of things they can play. They can start with this. If they do that, we go here right away. And we're ready to take this piece and snap it. If castles, then we snap that right away. Just snap it. Oh. Oops. Again, why? Because, well, first of all, we have this. Annoyingness. Yeah, just like a lot of places for black to go wrong here. A lot of places with natural play. A lot of places. So I quite enjoy this move h3 because this is a dangerous idea. The knight jumping here is quite dangerous. Comes here. Comes here. H6, natural. Relatively natural, I think this is, but even a move like this could be played. It already kind of loses, because it allows us to time to play this. So yeah, I mean, look, black can play this and get into a good position here. This doesn't work. This one doesn't work because I'm not sure why, but oh yeah, we have h6 play this way. Okay. It also means that this never works, right? Like, there's this idea, if h6 is not played here, then black can go like this, and then we have to find like something like this maybe, and then black has this idea to trap the queen if this isn't so. This shows up in some other lines, but yeah, it requires very accurate play. Now they can play c5, and now you go here. Oh, don't go there. Why? Oh, we haven't snapped yet. No, we snap. Very important. Very important. Snap this first. Always snap this first. Then this is okay. Then we drop back. Give ourselves the escape square. And we're always kind of ahead of this. So if this comes, we can play this. If... That's nice. I mean, look, if black plays all these moves, congratulations, right? Like, great job, black. but I don't know if they're finding all this. Like, I'm not sure. Just not sure. You know. Does it look better for black? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But there's still no material advantage here. We're still ahead of material. You know, how many more only moves does black need to find to prove that they're better here? This move. In fact, this doesn't work because this move, crazy. Crazy fucking move. And this is where you equalize as black and win the pawn back. You know, what move is this? This move 18. They finally went. I mean, like, come on. I mean, I don't think this is all getting played. And, you know, requires a lot. I would recommend this. And it's also just, it's not clear that that's winning here. So I wouldn't mind. I don't mind this line at all. So, okay. So we've looked at this move. Probably the only couple moves that really matter here. Because there's only two real main lines. This one. We've analyzed those a bit. Now let's look at, that's the only real responses here. Of course, this is the fun one because just win the rook in the corner. Let's look at the actual, like, I will hold on to the pawn response. Now this one, you can play this, but then this comes. Of course. It actually traps the piece. Yeah. Okay. That traps the piece. So, okay, so you don't play this. So, okay, so you wouldn't play that. Can play this, but then you have to know not to do that. You jump in here. A little bit worse here. Yeah, that's logical. That loses to this. Interesting game. It's a fun game. You could also just play if you want to. If they go here, you can also just instead of this, just play this. This is slightly better. Yeah, I guess would prefer white here. Okay. You don't mind this. Yeah, I guess if they play this, you can just get back into a normal game. I don't have any crazy responses to this. This, just play this. I think probably. They take, you take. If the check could come, they could just develop. Check the piece. It's kind of sad. Play this. Black play this. Oh, it's interesting. What? What? Oh my god. Yeah. Fucking interesting. I guess that's possible. And that's interesting too. Maybe we should analyze those lines. It's just too bad. This doesn't look too bad. Of course, this is annoying, but we go here. It's fine too. Get a chess game. I mean, it's a chess game. I would just recommend this in this position. I would recommend this and this automatically. Of course, this is a blunder. Actually, wait, why is it a blunder? Not for the reason you think. Because of this move, it's allowed. What did I miss here? Oh, this one to this one. Apparently is a big difference. Ah, because we can take the pawn. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. There's some fun lines here. Okay, we'll play this. We'll recommend this. Allow them to push the pawn. Okay, fine. All right, that's my recommendation. There's a lot more to explore here, but I think the basics of it, what you'll face more often than not, again, more often than not, if you face this opening, you're going to face this. Key ideas here are they can defend a couple, they can play a couple different ways. They can either give the pawn up with a move like this, or even this. I guess this is possible too. I guess I didn't consider this line. Similar story, I think. Gives it up this way. It's not as common, I don't think, but can be played. Yeah, that's probably a real line. Looks like a couple of responses here that make sense. Again, thematic line. Okay, so I mean the point is, you know, you win a pawn. Yeah, you study it, you find some accurate queen moves, you're fine. If this ever happens, where you get to trade here, you move. Sorry, that's not the right way to do it. Sorry, wrong idea. If this ever happens, this. Okay, that's not good. This ever happens, key idea. Play this. Get a game. Why am I losing here? Oh, sorry. Not this. Not this. Yeah, key idea here. This square is safe. Castles. No. You get a game, you know. Okay, fine. At some point, I looked at all these lines. I'll go back and find them when I need to. But that's that. I think it's fine. If you know how to play it, it's good. This is good reference for me, if anything else. And that's it. All right.